Montreal, from a far way away. We got some Canadians here. What's the deal here? Holy shit. Really? Amazing. The storm is getting closer every day. You know the Buddhist? No, of course not yet, but I will learn the new. It's just that it's kind of like for me like a sampler. I just think it's gonna be when you put the guitar pickups and the mics and stuff, it'll make very nice noise.
Yeah, that's cool.
We just saw these for fun, you know. That's all. You just try to buy, you know, as you travel. You just, if you see little things like this, you just try to pick up little pieces everywhere you go. When I get home and I light my fireplace on, put that on, hang out, sit back like this, drink a glass of wine with my wife. Hi, honey, how things going today? Cheers. You know, stuff like that. That's when it starts getting hot. No, that's cool. The story goes is I live in an apartment and downstairs there's this cafe downstairs, and there was this person, I was working there, and this person beside me was moving to Beijing. She's this girl and she was moving there, and she talked about it for 2 hours, and I kept on hearing stories of like Beijing and this life, and you ever seen the movie Being John Malkovich? It's a great film, and the whole film is about like people who like take a little warp zone into somebody's life in their head so they can see through their eyes. And so I kind of had this daydream all day about waking up in somebody's life in Beijing. And so the song is kind of fiction, and it's mainly just about that, waking up in somebody else's life, you know?
It's my head!
I thought it was a really nice surprise. So when we got here to find out that it was much more of a traditional kind of city and beautiful, like old buildings and stuff like that, I was super happy because, you know, we see a lot of modern big cities, and it's not the biggest thing, you know, it's not that much fun, but to come to a city with so much charm and these beautiful little areas and stuff. So we were really happily surprised, all of us. European cultures and certain cultures, they're different, but they're not that different, you know. But when we come here, it's like a super huge difference. So it's a shock, yeah. So many places in the world are becoming the same, you know. So it's nice to come to a place that's got such a unique quality. I think it's important that the band, the audience, I think we learned that. The person that really kind of taught me that lesson, we toured with James Brown. Do you know James Brown? And one of the great things about him as a performer is that all the parts of his songs, he would call, he would call to the band on the fly. So the show was always different. And one of the reasons why is that he watched the audience and try to make the audience realize that they had control in the music as well. So it became like a partnership, you know. So when you get to the next level and you need to go to the next level, you need them to go with you to get there, you know. And so sometimes you need sometimes it takes more communication, sometimes it takes less, but you need enough so I think the audience feels that they're participating in the show, where they feel like they're part of the show as well, and that kind of gives you a bigger high on stage. Sometimes, not always, but you know, sometimes it's great. You know? What I need from you guys is a song title. You have to make it up. It has to be a song that doesn't exist. So can you help me with that? Make up a title. Come on, use some imagination. Interesting. Mathematics song. That's cool. What's that? Cold Wind from Siberia. It's a road called Cold Wind from Siberia. We collect things, like we travel, play a lot of shows, so I think over the years we've collected little things along the way. You know, it's like Simon when he played the instrument he had bought earlier today.
There you go. I just
just got this today. I'm gonna be a master soon.
How do you say it? What is it called?
Oh, hold on. Yutin? How do you say it? Yutin. Yutin. That's it. I've only been here for a day. Give me a break.
Well, it's just we find things along the way. Like Simon saw it today, started playing it, and it sounded great. And he's just like, it just kind of brings a little spice to the set. And we've been collecting for a long time, so we have a lot of little things that bring, So for sure, for the first time you see us, it's a lot of new things because we've been taking years to build all these different sounds that we use. So it's tough because it's like also it's like 4 musicians in the band, and we all have very different tastes. So a lot of the influences are coming from many different places. For me, from like a personal level, I kind of was a lot influenced by classical music, just for the richness and sound and chord changes and harmony. But also, like, for me, like bands like even from Simon Garfunkel to simple pop bands, but then to bands like, if you go to big ones like Bjork or Radiohead who have like very left-wing music, and then to, you know what I mean? It's a very wide variety of bands, and I think for us, like, like the drummer was more inspired by jazz. He comes from a jazz background. The bass player came from like almost like a Led Zeppelin background, and Simon, the guitar player, came from more of like a free noise type of background, like John Zorn and that kind of family. So we all have very different backgrounds, but we have like little things in common and things in common places that like we like together, But I still think we kind of collect little pieces from so many different types of music that I don't think we could put our main influences. I think each song has its main influences. Like if I take Beijing for example, it's very inspired by like Steve Reich to cartoon music from the 1940s. You know what I mean? So that's an example of a song. Like a guy wrote all the Warner Brothers like Big Bugs Bunny with all the sounds and crazy stuff. And then if you take Big Bird, it's very inspired by like country singers. Like from like I don't know, Johnny Cash, Dolly Parton, like storytellers and country singers. And then you take Man Like You, maybe it's like more from like Nick Drake, or you know what I mean? Like it comes from so many different places that I don't think I can give you 3 good examples.
Show me what you have to show.
Do you guys know a singer called Lassa DeSella? All right, well, she's if you guys don't know who she is, she was one of the most amazing female vocalists of our generation, and she's just passed away a couple days ago. So she was a very, very close friend of mine. I'll tell the little story just because it makes it a little bit more interesting. While she was passing away, she had a cancer of the brain. She started having these kind of hallucinations, and she asked me if to write down her hallucinations. So I took a couple notes of them, and I wrote her a song. So she recently passed away like 2 weeks ago. So I'm going to play a song that I wrote from those hallucinations, and for a very close friend of mine. And we used to sing together all the time, and so it's a huge person to pass away, and it's terrible news. So, but anyways, this song is called Underneath the Song Lines, and she rolls like this, yeah? Cats are walking on the walls with their dirty gentle paws, leaving a little trail, footprints to their arms. I like Debussy, Claude Debussy. He's a very visual composer, like he's kind of the inventor of film score music in a lot of ways. Classical music is a really wide term, Yeah, I mean, you have to also picture classical music when it's been written as well. Like, even if you take Mozart, for example, probably like for younger listeners or our generation, when we look at it, we kind of picture some like really gentleman, proper person writing down like, but I mean, at the time what he was doing was very kind of risky, and also like he's a crazy guy, like stay up for 24 or 48 hours straight writing music on a piece of paper for 48 musicians at a time. So you have to remember, like, when you listen to classical music, to like listen to it in its context and picture those composers with the options they had. A lot of classical composers, in my opinion, are more rock and roll than most rock and roll bands will ever be. If you take like someone like Stravinsky, or you take like Eric Satie, okay, super simple piano composer stuff. He was a guy who wore like the same outfit for almost 20 years. He had 20 like versions of the same outfit. He's a guy who invented minimalism. You know, like Steve Reich, Philip Glass, or like Brian Eno. It's one of the main influences for electronic music. It's where electronic music came from. So like a classical composer in 1879 was doing like, in a way, similar type of concept as electronic music. But for us, we listen to it like, oh, it sounds as very proper music. But I think you have to understand when you listen to the music, put it in its context when it's being written, and what rules are they breaking at the time, and then you have a different appreciation for the music, you know. Then you look at some rock bands, and they're kind of, they don't break half the boundaries as most classical musicians did. You know, so I think it depends how you listen to the music, you know, and understanding the history behind it. Simon, I remember the first time we played together. We were in Hudson, a small little town, and we weren't like super close. It was a very small town. We weren't like super close friends, but we always see each other because it was small. And one day he had his guitar, and he was sitting at a park bench in front of the local bar, and I sat beside him, and we just played together a bit. And we said as a joke, maybe one day we'll play in a band together. And then 3 years later, I went to this band audition. It was like when I was 16 or 17, and he was there as the audition at the same time. I'm like, hey man, and then we ended up playing in that band together. And then we went to music school together. And then when I started this project, he joined right in. So it's kind of a fun story. I remember meeting the drummer. We were at music school, and I met him on the stairs because we were like, "Oh, why are we going back to school like this?" And I'm like, "Hi, how are you?" And he's like, "Hey." And when we went into the school, we ended up in the same music class because it was the first day of school, and we played together for the first time that day, and something clicked. And I still remember the day we played together for the first time. Winning awards in music is like it's a great honor for sure. It's a huge honor. Great bands who are nominated, you know. Whenever you're nominated, it's kind of just good enough, you know. Because that night there was loads of great bands like the Besner Lakes, the Deers are there, a great band. There's Feist was nominated, Arcade Fire was nominated. So, you know, a lot of really good bands, you know. And it's not like, you know, a race where runs faster wins, you know. It's easy. In music, it's a bit more like complicated. So I think when you win, you know, it's an opinion, and you could have different opinions, so you can't take it so seriously, you know what I mean? Any one of those bands could have won, maybe on a different day or different, you know, critics. Yeah, you just got lucky that time, you know, and that's okay. So you can't like make you think like you're the best band in the world because you win an award, you know?
Bad day, looking for a way home, looking for the great escape. Gets in his car and drives away, far from all the things that we are.
The animation video was a guy I met, a very young guy in Montreal called Alex, and I saw his paintings, and his paintings were incredible. So I thought, you ever done animation? He said no, but he'd like to try. So he decided to try doing some animation, and he turned out being incredible at it. So we kind of storyboarded, came a story. Some of the other videos were done with the person I started the project with, Bridget Henry, who did like photo books underneath the water. That's how it all started. She's a good friend, she did it. The last video I directed because I always Fireweed. I just wanted to try because I never tried it before, so I thought it'd be fun. It's kind of like one of those childhood dreams, you know, like, oh, I directed a video, why not? I don't know like what albums are supposed to mean anymore. I don't know if like, you know, like we used to make a CD and sell a CD, you know, and in the kind of modern world, albums are like, I don't know where they're gonna go, you know. So the next like year and a half, we're gonna do experiments. We're gonna try like putting out mini albums on the internet. Well, recording, but like more like instead of like doing a full album, we do like a couple singles and put them on iTunes. We're gonna try like different types of things out and see what works the best. So we have like do some research and see what the best way to put music out is for now. Hi, I'm Patrick Watson, and you are watching Mogo, and thanks for having us. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Like that.